Y'all, we're making peanut butter cups. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the weekly web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're tackling low carb peanut butter cups. Stay tuned. All right, guys, low carb peanut butter cups. You probably know them by the famous name of Reese's peanut butter cups. Can we make them low carb? Today, we're gonna find out by testing two very popular recipes and two different techniques to try to come up with something that resembles the popular favorite. The first recipe is no-bake keto peanut butter chocolate bars, and this is by the website twosleevers.com. Guys, this thing has over 700 reviews and almost 5 stars, so it must be good. These are bar style cookies, and we'll get into a little bit more about that in a moment. And the second recipe is keto peanut butter cups, and this is by the website thebigmansworld.com. Now, I chose two different kinds because not everybody has silicone molds and the things to make perfectly proper Reese's peanut butter cups, but we all have a casserole pan that's probably 6 inches in size, and we can cut those into bars. And it reminds me so much of being in elementary school. My best friend's mother was the head cafeteria lady. She was the head of school dietitian, and she always made the special Reese's peanut butter cups that were made in a giant sheet pan where it was peanut butter layer and then a chocolate layer, and they were cut into squares. And as a kid in school, they were fantastic. So the first recipe kind of reminds me of that. The second one is going to be more composed. It's going to be in a mold. You can, I'll show you a couple of other options as well, but we're going to try those out. Now, before we begin, I need to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Superfat. You guys know they were a sponsor last month, and they really, it was a product that I was using before they even approached me. So when they said, hey, can we sponsor a video? I was like, you better believe it. And I think I showed you last time their cookies that I love so much, the little cookie bites. They're so crispy and good, and I put them in a little bit of bowl with a little bit of almond milk or macadamia nut milk, and they are such a fantastic substitute for cereal. So I love it. But today we're featuring their baking products, and I just wanted to show you, they've got keto brownie mix, which I love. They've got the pancake mix, and now also they're making chocolate chips, keto baking chips, which are all sweetened with erythritol and stevia, and just delicious products. And right now, for a limited time, you can always get 15% off of any Superfat product by going to superfat.com and using HF15, my code. But right now, for a limited time, for about a week after this video goes live, you can get a really great deal of 25% off of any 3 products in the baking collection. So the way that works is, I had some confusion last time. You're gonna go to superfat.com/HFBake25, and you're gonna pick 3 products, and from the baking collection, you're gonna put them in your cart, and then you're gonna go to checkout, and you're gonna use the code HFBake25, and you'll get 25% off any 3 or more products from the baking collection. But today we're going to use their baking chips as the chocolate portion of both of these recipes. So thank you so much, Superfat, for sponsoring this video. You guys go check that out at the link here or in the video description below. All right, let's go taste some Reese's peanut butter cups. All right, guys, so we're starting on our first recipe. This is no-bake keto peanut butter chocolate bars, and this is by the website twosleevers.com. I don't believe we've ever worked on any of their recipes, but this thing has hundreds, over 700 positive reviews. It's almost 5 stars with that many, so it must be good. And this is specifically, she said, goes into a 6-inch pan, or she, I noticed whoever makes it, I say she, used a large 6-inch ramekin. Said you can also do it in 8-inch, but we need to have some parchment paper. So I have parchment paper, and I don't normally have a 6-inch, or I thought I didn't, but my little Corningware casserole, teeny-tiny, my baby's casserole, is exactly 6 inches. So that's what we're gonna do, and make that in there, and then we'll all this obviously got to chill for a couple of hours in the fridge, and then we'll slice them up and see what we think. So this starts fairly easily. The most important part of this is you need an all-natural peanut butter with no sugar and preferably no salt. You might add some salt if you do get an unsalted, but the most important part is it cannot be regular old peanut butter that has sugar in it. Most peanut butter, that's the second ingredient. Peanuts, sugar. So just make sure, be careful, search for what you're looking for. I have an unsweetened, unsalted version of the peanut butter. So we're gonna start with a fair amount of that in here, and we're gonna mix all the stuff for the bars. And you know, you would think that a peanut butter cup would be chocolate with peanut butter on the inside, but that is not the case. And I know I loosely use the term Reese's because that's what we all know as Reese's peanut butter cups, at least in America. That ain't just peanut butter in there. You know, there's a lot of other things in there, namely sugar and some things to solidify it. So that's what this recipe sort of recreates. So we've got our peanut butter ready to go. And to this, we're gonna add our dry ingredients, and we're gonna cut it in with a pastry cutter. I don't have a pastry cutter, so I'm gonna use 2 knives. And, well, I do have a pastry cutter. It's just in storage. So, long story short, let's add all of our ingredients in to our bars. And this is, first of all, some blanched almond flour, right? So in that goes, she didn't say to sift it, but y'all know me, I ain't even sense in even saying it. If you're new here, sift, y'all, sift. You know why? What you do with all that in your recipe? What you can do with all them nuts in your recipe? Just be bumps. And then a little bit of confectioner's erythritol. I shouldn't say that. Whoever created this recipe said to use swerve, so that's what I've used here. But if you use allulose or some other monk fruit, whatever you like, you use. And then just rub this to get all of those lumps and bumps out so that we know we won't hit a big gross lump. To this, we're also going to add some vanilla extract, and then some butter. And here's where our pastry work comes in. We're gonna throw in the butter, and if you have a pastry cutter, by all means, get out of the way. If you have a pastry cutter, by all means, please use it. Otherwise, the easiest way to do this is to just cut this in until you can start mixing it. The pastry cutter does make quicker work of this, but if you don't make a lot of pastry, you may not have one around, and I am certainly one for multi-use appliances and tools and not single use. So let's try to do this. I'm going to pull out a spoon too and get this all combined. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Now we've just got to put it in our 6-inch or 8-inch, whichever you choose. I'm going to do the 6-inch because that's what the recipe was created for. And let's just get all of this out of here and press it into our little tiny casserole. Pea pie. Look at there. So as you can see, there's some substance and texture to this, and it's not just liquid melted peanut butter, you know. I mean, that can't be. Well, I guess it can, but it shouldn't. So work through this and just try to get this flat. Okay, y'all, I've already got that set up. I'm gonna tell you what, this is so easy, and I done stuck my finger in that, and I tasted it, and I can tell you it's already good. So we've got our bottom layer, and now we're gonna take our baking chips. This is just any sugar-free baking chip. And again, if you wanna know how many or how much of these ingredients I'm using, please be sure to use the link down here on the screen. All the recipes are listed here on the screen. You can type it in, or in the video descriptions below. These aren't my recipes. I'm just here to test them. Please go check out the links below and give these recipe developers the traffic they deserve. But we're gonna take some of the sugar-free baking chips, and we're gonna melt these quickly in the microwave, and then I'll be right back. We're gonna pour them on top of here. If you don't wanna use a microwave, don't scream and holler in the comment section, please. Just put this on a double boiler. put a pot of water on the stove on a gentle boil, put this right on top and melt it that way. I understand some of you don't like a microwave. It doesn't bother me a bit. If it does bother you, please don't holler about it. All right, meet you right back here. Okay, so we've got beautiful, melty, delicious chocolate. And it didn't take much. And we're just gonna pour this right on top. And then, it doesn't seem like enough chocolate to me, but I realize that this is where a lot of the carbs come from. So, if you like more chocolate, maybe add a little more. Now let's just spread this out, and then this needs to go, this needs to go live in the fridge for a couple of hours. In fact, the developer's words were, do not rush the last part. These need to live in the refrigerator and come to, to eliminate the artificial sugar flavor, because obviously we have the erythritol, the swerve, which I shouldn't say artificial, but alternative. Why is that so good? Why is all that so good? Okay, so here we go. So beautiful, 6-inch casserole. Do not rush the last part. Let your tasty low-carb dessert chill for a while. Let it solidify in the fridge and let the taste mingle. If you eat it too soon, it'll taste like artificial sugar. Let the taste meld and it'll be super fantastic. So, with that said, this is going in the fridge. Like, that was easy, y'all. That took what? 4 minutes, 3 minutes, nothing. It probably took me 5 because I run in my mouth. So we're gonna put this in the fridge. We're gonna be right back, and we're actually gonna make cups, peanut butter cups. So pray for me there. All right, I'll see you right back here in just a bit for our second recipe. All right, so let's get started on our second recipe while our first one is chilling out in the fridge. And this is Keto Peanut Butter Cups by thebigmansworld.com. And although this is simpler in ingredients, this is a little more involved in its technique, but not a lot. These are actually gonna go into individual little peanut butter cups instead of slicing them. I wanted to try that out. So while it's only 3 ingredients, you do need, he gave you a couple of options here. If you have a muffin tin, put paper muffin liners in there, and we can build this in there, and it'll sort of give you that little serrated edge, you know, that a Reese's peanut butter cup has. But I already have silicone molds that I purchased for another project when we did, I believe it was the hot cocoa bombs. So I have these little silicone molds that we're gonna use to try to make little domed, cute little things. So you can use that. If you don't have that, whatever you have around, like this is, if you have an Instant Pot, this is the Instant Pot egg loaf. You can like little egg bites. That would work perfectly too, I'm pretty sure. The silicone just makes it easier for all these things to get out of there. So we've got a tray ready to cool because we're gonna spoon in our chocolate. So again, we've got our super fat baking chips, and we're gonna add a little bit of coconut oil, solid coconut oil, to our chips while we melt them in the microwave. And this sort of adds to the softness, makes them a little softer to bite. So I'm gonna melt this, and I'm gonna be right back. Okay, so our chocolate is beautifully melted, silky smooth. And we're supposed to get 12 of these out of here. Now, I read the comments on his page, and he just recommends putting in a little bit of chocolate in each one and swiping it up the side, and then going in with the peanut butter. But the commenter said, put it in, oh, come on now, put it in, put it in the fridge and let it harden up so that you can build it up on the sides. So that's what I'm gonna do, because I feel like somebody doing trial and error probably knew what was going on. So we're gonna put a little bit of this in each one, because we gotta seal it up at the end too. We gotta put a little bit on top. Okay, I'm gonna quickly put these in the freezer for just a couple of minutes so that the sides get hard, and then we're gonna come back and finish building these out. All right, guys, so here these have been in the fridge for, they look messy, for about 8 minutes, and they have solidified enough to be able to go ahead and add in the peanut butter filling and then cover them. And then when I say peanut butter filling, I mean exactly that. His recipe calls for 3 ingredients: chocolate, a little bit of coconut oil, and then unsweetened natural peanut butter. So that's what we have here. Which, as we know, the other recipe had a lot of different ingredients to mimic the interior of a Reese's, quote, peanut butter cup, which this doesn't have, but we are not judging this just yet. So we just got to carefully get a spoon of this into the center of each one of those and then cover it in chocolate. So that's what I'm going to do now. Don't judge me with the messiness. All right, so for better or for worse, those are going in the fridge for a couple of hours to chill out and do their thing and set up. They look a mess, but I hope they pop out of there okay. So, all right, we're gonna let all this chill, and then I'm gonna slice them up, pop these out, and we're gonna test them, and I'll meet you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, we are back. It's been more than a couple of hours. I left, it's actually been overnight. This is the next day. I left our precious little peanut butter cups in the refrigerator all night. They've been out for about an hour now, and wow, they turned out so great. And truthfully, this one that we put in the, look how big this guy is. We put him in the pan. He popped right out. I ran a knife along the edge and literally just flipped it over and it came right out. So that was easy to do. So now we just need to taste these, but I did want to discuss nutrition first. So this very first recipe over here, the one that's the no-bake keto peanut butter chocolate bars. This is by twosleevers.com. This makes 8 servings, and truthfully, because it's a square, it's probably going to be easier for me to cut 9 servings out of it. But if you make 8, one of these is 246 calories. You've got 23 grams of fat, 7 grams of protein. You've got 7 total carbohydrates, 3 grams of fiber, for a total of 4 net carbs per serving if you make 8 of those. Now, our second one, this is the Keto peanut butter cups here. This is by thebigmansworld.com. He made 12 servings out of this, and I actually had exactly enough ingredients to make 12 of these with the mold that I had. And this is just a few of them here. If you make 12, one of them is 196 calories. You got 7 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat. You've got 10 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fiber, so that's a total of 3 net carbs for one of these, 4 net carbs for one of these. So the important part is, what do they taste like? Well, let's find out. Let's do our first one that we tried, and I'm just going to carefully, it might be hard to cut, I don't know. It might be easier to cut if it were upside down. Yeah, it's going to break apart. Oh, that's sad. I'll have to be a little more careful cutting the other one. It might be easier to do when it's cold, so I might refrigerate this again. But we're just going to test it here. So let's see. It is still a little gooey on the bottom, so I do believe that these things need to live in the fridge, most likely. Both of them said they last at room temperature on the counter, but I just don't see how that's feasible because you see what's already happening to my hands. So let's just see what it tastes like. So much peanut butter, so much flavor. Holy cow, that's good. It's sweet. I don't taste the artificial sweetener. That's delicious. Okay, wow, that was really, really good. So let's see, I'm gonna put that back in the fridge so that when I take my thumbnail photo, I can actually cut that. So I probably should have cut it in the pan and then taken it out. All right, what about one of these? This little guy is thick. I want to cut it and see if I can cut it in half, what it looks like. This had the, oh wow, y'all. That does look really, really beautiful. All right, I know which one's gonna be my thumbnail now. So this had the coconut oil added to the chocolate to make it a little softer to bite, he said. So what does this feel like? Very thick. Just a mouthful of peanut butter, but hey, can't really go wrong with that. All right, hold on. Okay, so yes, both of these were very, very good. To me personally, the first one, the bars, tasted more like a Reese's peanut butter cup, if that's what you're going for, because it had the extra texture in the peanut butter, that little bit of almond flour. I bet you some of that PB2, that powdered peanut butter, would probably work too. But the second one is so beautiful. It makes a fantastic presentation. But the truth is that that's just chocolate and peanut butter. So it was a lot of work. Yes, it looks great and the presentation is great. But truthfully, you could probably just as easily break off a piece of a unsweetened chocolate bar and dip it in your peanut butter and bite it, you know. That's sort of what you're getting here, but I do love the look of it. So I might try to add some sort of filling to, like the almond powder, the almond flour to the filling of this one. I don't know. I feel like there's a combination of these that could work. But right now, if I were to make one of these, I would definitely make the first one by 2 Sleevers, the no-bake keto peanut butter bars, because those pack a wallop. So there you have it, folks. Low-carb peanut butter cups. Yep, it can be done quite easily. So be sure to check out one of the recipes, both of the recipes down here. Use the links on the screen below. Check those out, make them, and come back and let me know what you think. I say it all the time, guys, but these videos are a way for me to maintain my low-carb way of eating. And looking in the end of that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. So I appreciate that you've come along for the journey. Be sure to find me on Instagram and on Facebook. I can communicate a little more frequently and a little more freely there. I'll leave links to that down below as well. Now, I also need to give a huge thank you again to Superfat for sponsoring this video. Guys, be sure to go get 3 items from the baking collection, this or any of the baking mixes. 3 items, put them in your cart, use the code HFBAKE25 and you'll get 25% off at least 3 items or more in your cart. So thank you, Superfat. I really appreciate the sponsorship. You guys want to support me? Go support them and use the link below. And lastly, you're going to see some names start to scroll here on the screen. These are my Patreon sponsors. If you don't know what Patreon is, think of it as the tip jar for the internet. It allows people like you who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube, and you can give $1 or $2 a month just to sort of keep the train on the tracks, as it were. So these guys and gals are truly my rock stars. Without them, none of this would be possible. So thank you to each one of them. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you next week for another low carb video. Bye-bye.